Welcome to a new Daily Top Askreddit video. Today's topic. If COVID-19 wasn't dominating the news right now, what would be some of the biggest stories be right now? The US government wanting to ban end-to-end encryption. It's fucking stupid. What I've heard is that companies that continue to use end-to-end encryption will be stripped of their Section 230 protections. They will then be responsible for any illegal shit found on their platform, which will really fuck up every social networking platform because there's gonna be illegal shit on there. Companies that comply and remove their E2E encryption will keep their Section 230 protections but essentially open up their platform to a host of security vulnerabilities. As a cybersecurity enthusiast, I should point out that a ton of its supporters seem very uninformed on the benefits of E2E encryption. It's a stupid idea. Edit. For those wondering why the government is even considering this, it's because the bill supporters claim it will bring child predators to justice. It's a stupid idea that won't work, and I honestly don't see how anyone with the slightest bit of clarity could think otherwise. They want them open to security vulnerabilities so it's easier for the government to secretly take data from them. The US government trying to pass an anti-child porn law that actually just gives them the ability to search through all of our messages. Edit. If you want to learn more about this act, here's a link to an article with some great information. And also bans end-to-end encryption. If you know anything about internet security, you know that would be devastating to literally everything that's based online in any way whatsoever. Wait, what? Nobody would be allowed to use end-to-end encryption. They pulled it off successfully with the Patriot Act against terrorists, so why not do it with pedophiles, despite immunity being granted to the rich ones? What about teens with each other? The nearly 2-year-long Ebola outbreak in the DRC has ended. The last patient to be treated has survived. Wow. I was worried about this a couple of months ago, but then the pandemic that must not be named took over my attention and I forgot about it. Incredibly brave people fighting Ebola. Such a scary disease. Yeah, the people that get out there to treat patients are some of the world's biggest heroes. I can't imagine how scary it must be to be living in a place with an Ebola outbreak going on. Thank God it's all over now. That was the last bit of positive news I got before all this started happening. The 2020 presidential election. Never thought I'd be thankful for a pandemic. This comment's going to age real well. Fine vintage. The former king of Spain and his Swiss accounts. Wow. That is crazy. Seems like it's the perfect time to get away with whatever you want. Friend of mine works in accounting and he said his company is planning on seeing a massive spike in fraud with all the bankruptcies expected to occur. People try to sneak under the radar, so to speak. I would hope the locusts plaguing East Africa, the Middle East, and the Indian subcontinent. It's describing some swarms as being the size of New York, and they are eating their harvest, threatening widespread famine. I think without coronavirus we would mobilize to try to control this population the way we did for Zika-carrying mosquitoes in the Americas. Edit. This NPR article describes how in 2018 an unfortunate series of cyclones from the Indian Ocean hit an extremely remote area of the Arabian Peninsula known as the Empty Quarter. This produced extraordinary rain and gave them what they needed to breed. Because a second cyclone hit occurred during their breeding cycle, instead of drying out and having most of their population die out in the desert, the population exploded. In favorable conditions they can multiply by 400x their population every 6 months. Then they mass migrated. Also, for clarity, a swarm was identified as 3 times the size of NYC. Plagues, wildfires, locust. I know things like this happen, but definitely getting some apocalypse vibes. Don't forget the major earthquakes. Just one horseman at a time please. That's not how the apocalypse works. Probably the oil price war actually. Saudi Arabia is trying to force the Russians into cutting production since they won't play ball with OPEC+, and US shale might pay the price as we need high cost for this entire industry to function. I'd argue right now that if COVID wasn't happening, neither would the oil price war. They can only drop the price of oil super cheap because demand dropped through the floor. One of the main routes into downtown Seattle, the West Seattle Bridge, was closed yesterday because cracks in support beams made it structurally unsound. It will take several months to fix and will not reopen until it's done. This would normally destroy the entire Seattle commute, but it happened right now, so it's barely even a blip on the local news. Real talk, this was probably the best possible time for this to happen. Real talk, they likely knew about this for a long time, and were waiting to find a time to close it. That Putin changed his country's constitution so he can be president until 2036. I think we've all known for a while that dude's going to leave power in a casket and not a moment sooner. I mean, he could go the North Korea route, having him as supreme leader forever and the person running the country just be like the prime minister. ISIS bombs Sikh place of worship in Afghanistan. Edit, thank you for the awards. Oh man, bombing the Sikhs. I know it's ISIS, but come on guys. Most Sikhs are literally the nicest people. They have being kind built into the religion and have rocking beards and turbans. Edit, okay, so not all Sikhs are nice. That's a given. Stop being so angry please. Afghan officials say 25 were killed and 8 more are wounded in an attack on the Sikh temple in the nation's capital. It appears multiple gunmen stormed the temple complex while there were approximately 150 people inside. A Sikh who took cover says the militants went room to room, shooting and throwing hand grenades. The Islamic State organization has claimed responsibility. Fucking assholes are at it again. Endthroom case in Korea. Telegram porno sexual slavery ring with 74 victims including underage girls. The Telegram groups has estimated at least 10 to 30,000 subscribers. The Endthroom perpetrators are accused of luring victims, including minors, into sending sexually explicit photos and videos. In some cases, this escalated to using blackmail to force victims into increasingly violent acts, including sexual assault. Absolutely disgusting. I'm surprised that this news didn't get bigger internationally. Edit, reporters at Cook Mealbo observed about 25,000 users across 30 such chat rooms. One of the guys in charge of the rooms has had his identity revealed and the rest, one other main guy and the people who participated, are being investigated as of right now. Reports are saying that a few high-profile celebrities, professors and athletes are some of the 260 Kelvin involved in the viewing and / or distributing of the illegal contents. Which is unsurprising considering the entrance fee to access these rooms were between $300 to $1,500. Hope justice is served and served well. Korean law is known to be very forgiving for sex crimes, so I hope things change with this. Edit, here is an article you can read to get more information. #2 with one of the victims. Another in-depth article. Edit 2, it's been recently reported that one of the youngest victim include one as young as 9 years old, 11 years old and also an underage female idol / singer. Article 1 for the lazy. Seoul, March the 23rd, Yohap, more than 2 million people have signed an online petition as of Monday demanding the government unveil the identity of a man who allegedly ran a group chat room where photos and videos of violent sex acts, involving underage victims, were distributed. At least 74 victims are known to have been exploited in the so-called Endthroom case, in which a man surnamed Cho allegedly lured victims into taking naked photos and later threatened and exploited them into more gruesome sex acts. Cho, who used the nickname Baksa, which means doctor or guru in Korean, is accused of distributing the videos in a group chat room on the messaging service Telegram, where at least 10,000 users are suspected of paying Cho to watch the videos. Police have so far tracked down 124 people in relation to the case, including Cho and 17 others who have been formally detained. The user who is suspected of first creating the chat room, however, still remains at large. Astronomer here. We might have a bright naked eye comet next month in the Northern Hemisphere, our first since 1997. Comet C/2019 Atlas Y4 is brightening really quickly, and by May might be one of the brightest things in the night sky. I mean, comets are notoriously tricky to predict in brightness, as it might just break apart as it gets closer to the sun. But it's really exciting to think about, albeit no one has heard about it because of the pandemic, though granted, doesn't a pandemic need a bright comet? Edit, you might be able to get it in binoculars right now, or at least have fun trying. Here is a star chart for it. And yes, the last bright Northern Hemisphere great comet was Hale-Bopp, which was up for about a year to the naked eye. If you were a Southern Hemisphere resident in 2006, however, you probably remember Comet McNaught. Edit 2, because many are asking, that bright star in the evening sky is actually Venus. It's around its peak brightness and height right now and you should go take a look if your social distancing allows it. Might as well take a break from Netflix and look at a whole other planet. Edit 3. No, there is no chance of the comet hitting us or affecting life on Earth beyond potentially getting bright. You know what? I'm really excited for this. Thank you for that information. I'd like to say the ERNIT Act, but shit like this doesn't tend to make the news. ERNIT is only on the table because of COVID-19. There's no way they would try this if we weren't distracted. That's a fair point of view. Maybe another good /r/Askreddit thread could be what are people trying to sneak by with all of our attention elsewhere. It's amazing to me the simple fact that this is impossible to implement. But that's not enough to stop them. It's one of the most disruptive acts I have ever seen. Bunch of old dumb people making rules without even remotely understanding the implications. Right, as soon as someone like Apple or Amazon gets hacked and loses millions or billions from a leaked iPhone schematic or something, this law would stricken down immediately with a huge settlement from the government. This not only fucks smaller companies and users, but will also throw away millions of tax dollars. All because some old fucks don't know how the internet works.